Did you know that something as simple and ubiquitous in our lives, salt, carries a spiritual power as ancient as it is mysterious? Yes, the very same salt you use in the kitchen holds secrets that have been hidden for centuries. While many see salt as a common seasoning, few know that it is a symbol of protection, purification, and even divine covenant. Some say that if we knew everything about it, we wouldn't need amulets, complex rituals, or even external protection. Could something so accessible and powerful have been silenced for so long? Imagine, for a moment, that by using salt in the right places, you could ward off negative energy, attract balance, and even strengthen your spiritual connection. And it's not just superstition, these practices come from ancient traditions, supported by centuries of knowledge passed down from generation to generation, but kept secret from many. In this video, we will explore what they never told you about salt and discover how it can be your most powerful spiritual ally. Get ready to open your eyes to millennia-old knowledge that might completely change the way you see this small crystal. Since ancient times, salt has been seen as more than just a simple seasoning to flavor food. This element, charged with spiritual significance, is used as protection against negative influences and even to dissipate dense energies that may linger in an environment. In many cultures, a handful of salt can be spread at the entrances of a home as a spiritual barrier, blocking unwanted vibrations and creating an invisible but powerful shield against external energies. And more, have you ever thought about leaving a small container of salt in the corners of your bedroom? It sounds simple, but this ritual can be a game changer for those who want an energetically clean and balanced home. In practice, the use of salt extends to the spiritual well-being of those seeking to purify themselves of accumulated emotional burdens. By dissolving coarse salt in a basin of warm water and soaking the feet, a person experiences a moment of renewal, relieving themselves of worries and anxieties that seem to persist in daily life. This type of bath, though discreet, restores a connection with purity and peace, renewing the body's energy flow. It is a sacred moment, an alliance between the physical and that which transcends the material world, bringing the much-desired spiritual purification. Even more intriguing, salt also becomes a tool to break spells or neutralize intentionally directed negative energies. Imagine, for example, a bowl of salt placed at the entrance of a house or near the door. In addition to being a symbol of balance, it acts like a sponge that absorbs what might be weighing down the environment. It's almost as if salt holds a divine covenant, protecting, purifying, and simultaneously uniting the visible and invisible in a subtle energetic harmony. And that's where the next aspect of this fascinating element begins to emerge. In ancient scriptures and various traditions, salt is seen as a symbol of divine order, representing purity, balance, and even an alliance between the human and the sacred. The use of salt reflects the desire for a harmonious life, where each element is in its place and acts for a greater good. Imagine the creation of the world as a grand work of art, where salt enters to preserve and crystallize the essence of that order. Thus, by touching salt, many believe they are also connecting with this force of origin, absorbing a bit of the energy that governs the universe. This powerful symbol is not limited to a mere object but encompasses a broader idea of spiritual protection and cosmic structure. In many cultures, placing some salt in water and spraying it around the house is believed to purify and restore the energetic balance, eliminating negative energies and re-establishing a divine order in the environment. This practice is more than superstition, it is a way to reaffirm the connection with what is pure and immutable. Who wouldn't want to bring this almost mystical harmony into their daily life? Indeed, the symbolism of salt goes beyond the visible. It becomes, in many cultures, a means of remembering that even amidst difficulties and contradictory energies, there is a line of balance that sustains everything. Like a divine covenant between good and evil, salt reinforces the idea that it is possible to find peace amid chaos. And it is in this blend of purity and strength that it continues to be used as a link between the spiritual and the physical. Let's understand how this is reflected in religious practices around the world. Salt is a widely respected element in religious practices around the world, being used in purification rituals, exorcisms, and even as an offering. In many cultures, it appears as a fundamental ingredient to protect the spiritual space and ward off unwanted energies. A practical example is the ritual of passing a handful of salt over the shoulders after a tense event, symbolizing the desire to rid oneself of any negative burden. This gesture may seem simple, but for many, it is an act that aligns body and spirit with an intangible spiritual protection. In Christian rituals, salt also plays an important role, being associated with the covenant with the divine and the commitment to maintain spiritual purity. A classic example is the use of holy water, which often includes salt, to bless and cleanse the environment or the faithful themselves. In esoteric traditions, it is even more revered, functioning as a guardian of the sacred space and as a channel of purification. And with a subtle touch, salt purifies without being invasive, maintaining what is good and dissolving what no longer serves. In various traditions, especially those with strong ties to nature, salt is offered as a form of covenant and gratitude to spirits or natural forces. In indigenous ceremonies, it may be burned together with sacred herbs, amplifying the process of purification and connection with the spiritual plane. It's curious how such an accessible and mundane element as salt becomes a gateway to such profound and symbolic practices. This duality, between the common and the sacred, shows how essential salt is in maintaining our energy. And this leads us to the next fascinating aspect of this ever-present and enigmatic substance. In many cultures, salt is seen as a shield against negative influences, and the ritual of spreading it around an environment is a practice that spans generations. Creating a circle of protection with salt around a space, such as the home or workplace, is a way to form a spiritual barrier that blocks unwanted energies. Some prefer to place small portions of salt in the corners of the house, as a reminder that the environment is protected against negativity that may come from outside. This practice, besides being effective, is simple and brings a profound sense of peace and security. The power of salt as a protector goes beyond physical boundaries, connecting to the emotional and spiritual realms. For example, when taking a coarse salt bath, a person is not only cleansing the body, they are, in a way, washing the soul. This type of ritual, whether with a bath or the simple presence of salt in an environment, helps release accumulated tensions and purify personal energy, bringing a sense of renewal and relief. Those who have experienced it know how much this gesture can make a difference after a stressful or heavy day. The interesting thing is that, while salt protects, it also allows an opening for positive energy. The circle of salt around the environment does not block the good, on the contrary, it only repels what is harmful. Thus, salt functions as a symbol of balance, preserving what is good and keeping away what is harmful. It is a duality that reinforces its importance in protection rituals and shows how it manages to combine simplicity and depth in a single gesture. But this duality can have other meanings, as we will see next. Salt, although known for its protective strength, is also an ambivalent element, capable of being used for less noble purposes in certain magical practices. This dualism makes it a powerful symbol, as it carries within itself the ability to protect and, at the same time, to be manipulated to cause negative influences, depending on the intention of the user. It's as if salt represents the duality between good and evil, reminding us that even what seems purely protective requires respect and caution. In dark magic rituals, for example, salt can be used to create barriers of separation or even to concentrate energies that prevent someone's progress. However, it is important to remember that improper use can backfire on those who try to manipulate it, like a sort of reverse effect, which teaches us about the responsibility of handling these natural elements. Those who engage in spiritual practices quickly learn that one should not tamper with energies that cannot be fully controlled. Thus, salt remains one of the most enigmatic symbols of balance, capable of protecting and, at the same time, serving as a tool for those seeking to interfere with others' free will. The issue here is to understand that salt mirrors the intentions of its handler, reflecting what is in the practitioner's heart. This aspect makes it a fascinating element, and its value transcends the physical, extending into the spiritual and esoteric realms, as a link between intentions and realities. And there is more to explore about the role of salt as a symbol of commitment. In various cultures, salt is much more than a natural resource, it becomes a symbol of alliance and spiritual commitment. In ancient traditions, especially in the Middle East, eating salt with another person sealed a pact of trust and friendship. This simple yet profound gesture created a connection that transcended the physical, linking people in a sort of divine covenant where loyalty and sincerity were fundamental. Today, we still see remnants of this practice in celebrations that seek to strengthen lasting bonds and mutual respect. This symbolism of salt as a commitment is not limited to alliances between people but also extends to the spiritual realm. In religious rituals, it can be used to mark a pact with higher forces, sealing a commitment of faith or gratitude. A classic example is the use of salt in offering ceremonies, where it represents the promise to maintain a connection with the divine. In some traditions, even a salt altar is set up to reinforce the presence of this covenant, bringing a sense of spiritual protection and balance to the environment. The idea of using salt to seal commitments reminds us of its strength as a symbol of stability and integrity. Those who use salt in these contexts are reaffirming a commitment not only to others but also to themselves, to their own truth, and to the universe. It represents both what is firm and what is subtle, what unites the visible with the invisible. And so, through cultures and time, salt continues to be an essential link in the web of human spirituality, preserving the connection between the physical and the sacred. Now imagine how this manifests in global traditions. Around the world, salt takes on unique spiritual roles, connecting various cultures through their practices and beliefs. In Japan, for example, salt is thrown at the entrances of commercial establishments to ward off bad luck and attract positive energies. This practice, known as shiomamori, is an expression of Japanese culture's desire to harmonize the environment, ensuring that the space is conducive both for business and for the well-being of those who enter. In many Asian countries, salt is commonly seen as an integral part of purification and protection rituals, ensuring that the environment remains balanced. In Africa, salt is also highly valued for its ability to connect the physical to the spiritual. In some cultures, it is used to protect against envy and the evil eye, being spread at the entrances of houses to create a barrier against negative energy. The oral traditions of these cultures teach that salt purifies, preserves, and protects, functioning as an invisible line that separates good from evil. In this way, salt becomes more than a mineral but a symbol of resilience and spiritual defense, revered and used with great respect. In the Middle East, salt is seen as an element of hospitality and commitment, frequently offered to visitors as a sign of welcome and respect. Sharing salt with someone is synonymous with peace and good intentions, a tradition that transcends time and can still be found in some modern rituals. This connection with salt shows how it serves as a bridge between the human and the divine, between the tangible and the sacred. And it is fascinating to realize that, despite cultural differences, this element unites the world in its quest for protection and spiritual balance. After delving into this knowledge, it becomes clear that salt is not just a seasoning but a powerful ally to transform your energy and protect your space. And now, knowing all this, what are you waiting for to experience and feel the power of salt in your life? Have you ever thought about using it to strengthen your spiritual protection or bring more balance to your home? How about starting today with a small ritual? Share your experience in the comments, and tell us how this ancient wisdom can impact your routine. Don't let this knowledge be lost. Subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to continue discovering spiritual secrets and ways to enrich your journey. Let's explore together what is often right in front of us but goes unnoticed. Ready for this change? Don't miss the next video, your spiritual path may be just beginning.